Let's get started.
And hey everybody, and welcome to the bonus stage episode number 8. Sorry, I was a little bit delayed getting into my intro. I just spilled a whole bunch of water on my keyboard.
Oh, man.
Like right now, like just as I was about to start the show, it's like bloop. Oh,
Do you want to take a few
great.
seconds? To
No,
clean it
I think it's okay.
up? Wow, that's well timed.
Wow, that is awesome. Everybody,
The intro's
welcome.
Like a minute and 30 seconds, and you already just like screwed up your entire setup in 90 seconds long.
It's beautiful. That's what I do. That's what I do.
timing.
I'm a king at screwing stuff up. All right, guys, welcome to the bonus stage episode number 8, brought to you from vgpodcast.com/live. We've got a bunch of people joining us live for the recording this week. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat room, and also hello to my co-host, Jeff Ward. Jeff,
Hey.
how you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Well, my computer
other
is
than
not
me,
making
yeah.
weird noises or starting on fire, so I am in a great mood.
That's good. That's good.
I could be much worse right now. Yikes. So it's been a week. How's your week been, Jeff?
You know, it's been good. There's been some free time to play some games, and I've been actually just just sitting down in front of the TV and enjoying video games for the last week. It's weird because previous to not this last episode but the one before, I really wasn't having as much fun playing video games. And some DLC came out for a few games that I was playing. The arcade game we talked about last week of The Walking Dead, and I was playing just a ton of new stuff, and it kind of got me. I want to say like revitalized. It's a stupid way of saying I like playing video games again, but I've just been sitting down and playing Call of Duty for an hour, and then hopping in and playing Skyrim for 2 hours, and then going upstairs and playing baseball. Or I've actually left my PS Vita. It's down there, charged. I haven't touched it in almost 2 weeks, which is really strange. Well, actually, it's not really strange because there's still nothing that I own for it that I really want to play for any extended period of time other than baseball. But
Right.
yeah, it's been a good week. I've just been able to kind of sit and relax and play some video games, which is all that we can ever ask for, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is a great thing to just sit down and start playing games again. I was in the same boat as you for a while. I was so busy with work and with the kids, I didn't have any time to do anything. And now I have like a stack of like 17 games sitting beside my television that I have to dig into. So I got lots of games that I want to play, and a lot of games that I want to get into, and also been playing a lot of games. So it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
A lot of fun. Well, I guess it's the best segue to get into what we've been playing. So Jeff, what have you been spending time playing on your consoles of choice?
Yeah, so been just kind of sitting down here with the Xbox 360. I mean, I feel like every week I play MLB The Show, so I'm just not even going to mention it anymore until the Blue Jays are in the playoffs and I've won the World Series. So
Oh, you mean in your game? I was going to say,
Yeah,
wow, that's going to be a long time, Jeff.
already has been a long time, but yeah. So I'm not even going to mention that anymore. But just like rest assured, anytime you ask me what I've been playing, MLB The Show is on that list. But the other games, I've been diving back into Skyrim and playing a little bit more of Hearthfire. I've kind of like been building a house, and
Jealous.
well, you should be to an extent. I mean, I'm not really building a house so much as I'm running all over the Skyrim universe, and just getting straw and cobblestone and stuff. It's really kind of stripped down. But the thing is, I am building a house that I think is kind of cool.
Well,
I just like hired a steward or whatever. I've got like a cow and a chicken outside, and
Nice.
it's just really fun. It kind of feels like it actually is my home, even though it's like this preset version of what it should be.
I always love that type of stuff in those, like in the Elder Scrolls games, just kind of either stealing a house by killing the person that lives inside of it and then putting all your stuff inside of it, or getting a DLC that gave you some downloadable content based housing of some sort. I always love that, and I'm so jealous that I can't actually play it right now. I really hate
You
the
have it on
fact
the
that,
PS3, right?
yeah, I really hate the fact that the PS3 is being kind of shafted here with this.
Yeah, and like not, it started out them being shafted, but now it's like they just can't figure it out. Like I mean,
Yeah.
Dawnguard still hasn't come out for the PS3.
I'm
So
I'm okay with them skipping Dawnguard and going right to like Hearthfire. Like I if they could give me that tomorrow, I'll buy it, and then they can take as much time as they want to do Dawnguard.
I remember,
I just want something.
yeah, I think it was this week I was reading it, maybe it was last week, but I remember reading an article just very recently where Bethesda was saying, we might not ever be able to release this because it's extremely difficult for some reason for us to get our DLC out onto the PS3, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, if you bought Skyrim on the PS3, that's got to hurt you because there's, even though Dawnguard has its shortcomings, it was still fun. I mean, it gave me new items, gave me something new to do. It brought me back into that world like we did in our review. So
Yeah.
it really does suck for you guys that you don't have it available to you,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that there's a ton of people who would love to pay $10 to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just really sad right now. I got some other Skyrim stuff to talk about when I start talking about what I've been playing. So I'll let you finish up and then prepare for rant time.
Yeah, yeah. You actually, we'll talk about it in a few seconds. But the last thing I've been playing is Modern Warfare 3. The final DLC pack came out this week. I'm
Nice.
sorry, not this week, last week. And I've been digging into that, and I've been really, really enjoying it. We're actually going to, or I'm going to review it later on in the show. But Modern Warfare 3 is one of these games that's kind of polarized the Call of Duty community.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an okay game. It's not a great game, but I mean, I have dumped, I think, 24 hours into it or something like that, multiplayer alone.
Right.
I mean, I've played it. I've really, really played it. But, there are things that I don't like about it. The fact remains, and I'll talk about this in the review, it's had more post-launch support with new content than any Call of Duty game in history. And if you even like stack games together, it still has more than the combined total of some games. It's insane. So I mean, they've done a really good job of keeping you around and giving you reasons to go and play it. So I mean, there's some commending to be done there for Infinity Ward, but I'll finish up that when we talk about it in the review. But that's the only other thing I'm playing this week.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into what I've been playing. If you listen to the Touch of Gaming podcast, I talked about a game called Super Hexagon on my iOS platform of choice, which is my iPhone and my iPad. I've actually been playing it on both. And I've been playing it a lot. And if you own an iOS device and you like crazy hard, I guess kind of like twitchy, arcadey type titles, you can kind of hear it now. You gotta play Super Hexagon. So I'm gonna start it up. And it's got like some really great music.
Oh man, that does sound cool.
And basically the game is just all about this hexagon in the middle of the screen, and you have to kind of rotate your little triangles in the middle of the screen surrounding a hexagon, and you have to kind of rotate around the hexagon while these lines come towards you. I can't see it in my camera, so I can't play it very well. But this game is just so damn addictive. I've been playing it all the time, whenever I have a free second. So probably one of the best 99-cent apps I've bought in a while. And the funny thing about it is the average game will last you like 5 or 12 seconds. And then every once in a while you'll do good and you'll get maybe up to 60 seconds, and that will be like your crowning achievement. My record for the main mode is 64 seconds, which is a lot of time. And that's how quick the game is, and it's like frustrating. You want to throw your iPhone or iPad through the wall. Like, it gets that crazy difficult, but then you do better next time and you don't feel so bad. So yeah, one of those games that is just so aggravating, but I can't help but play it because I love it. So
is it kind of like that Portal syndrome where you're playing almost get to the point where you're frustrated. I mean, you're frustrated. You almost get to the point where you want to quit, and then you figure it out, and you're like, "Damn it, this game! I was just about to say that this game was a piece of garbage, and
No.
then I figured it out, and you're like, this is a fantastic game again."
No, it's not even that, because it's an arcade game where you're just moving out of the way of stuff flying towards your ship. It's all about like twitch mechanics. So it's not figuring anything out. It's just getting further than you ever got before, either through skill or dumb luck. But it's great. Like, you die and then you can restart the game right away. Like, it's immediate.
So are you literally just avoiding things, or do you get to shoot or anything?
Nope, you're just avoiding. So stuff comes down towards you in different patterns, and you rotate around and avoid it. And that's all it is. And yeah, Max in the chat room is saying it looks trippy, and it is. It's one of those games where you get like synthenesia, or however you pronounce that word, where if you play it, like, I'll play it in a dark room with headphones on, and so basically the screen is just blasting me in the face with brightness, and the music is trippy, like it's kind of like trancey sort of chip tune music, and the screen is actually pulsating to the beat of the music, and it gets to the point where your senses get kind of confused as to what sound and what is visual. Like, they get kind of twisted together. It's awesome. It's like a really great effect if you're playing it in a dark room. If you are at all motion sickness prone, you will not like this game. My wife gets motion sickness if she reads in a car. Like, even if she's like looking like down at my phone if at a stoplight and then starts driving, and she keeps looking at it because she's the passenger, she'll get motion sick. I used to play a game on the PlayStation called N2O, Nitrous Oxide, where it was basically you're a little vehicle and you're rotating around a tube, and it's like psychedelic and funky colors. She would look at it for a second when I'm playing it, and she would immediately like feel nauseous. So she was asking me what game I kept playing, and I'm like, it's called Super Hexagon. It's awesome. You'll love it, but you won't be able to play it. And she's like, oh, I'm not that bad of a gamer. I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, you will look at it for 5 seconds and you'll want to vomit. And she's like, no, I don't think so. So she downloaded it and put it on her iPad and was playing it, and basically for the first like 10 seconds you're like, the screen is kind of staying in the middle and you're rotating around the center, so it's pretty easy because nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, in about 10 seconds, the thing starts rotating the opposite way from how you're rotating, and basically once that hit, she just, like, you could see her face kind of turn green, and she actually went and laid down for like a half hour in like a dark room just to get her bearings around her. So yeah,
I'm actually looking at a video right now. Yeah, that's gotta just like
it's insane, but it's so awesome. And have you heard of Gamer Itch?
No, I have not.
I don't know. People call it different things. I call it Gamer Itch. Like, I've been talking about this on podcasts since like 2004. And that's when you get a game that's really intense, and it gets to the point where your body just develops itch for no reason, because it knows that you're like intense on something and you can't scratch it. So you'll be playing a game and you can't take your hand off the controller to scratch your head or whatever. This game has like the worst of that. Like, I'll get to the point where I'm at like 45 seconds, because that's when it's like the big push to getting to 60 seconds. And it gets really intense, and then all of a sudden, like, I keep thinking, boy, I better not get an itch, and then next thing you know, like, my arm's itchy, and I'm just like, why did my brain go there and then force that on me? So like, this, it's such an awesome game. For $1, if you own an iPad, get it. If you own an iPod or an iPhone, get it. I prefer playing it on my iPad, to be honest with you, but it's great on all the devices. So yeah, definitely check it out. Super Hexagon on the iOS App Store.
Here's a quick question.
Sure.
Why didn't you let her play? I mean, it's only $1, but why didn't you let her play it on your iPad first, just so she knew she didn't have to waste $1 throwing money on it?
Oh, well, we share an account, so I download it and then she can install it for free. So it doesn't cost any money for her. It's all good. That's the best thing about iOS, actually, is you can buy a game and run it on all your devices, which is really great. Really, really great. I've also been playing a little bit of Ratchet and Clank here and there. Still loving it. I'm willing to spend all the time needed to get all the gold bolts across all 3 of the games, so having fun with that. And also decided today to pick up Skyrim, because you were talking about Skyrim so much, and I hadn't played it since like March or April. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to get back into it and start playing it, in the hope that some way hell freezes over and we get the DLC coming out on our console. So I started playing, and I was in the middle of a quest line the last time I saved, and I had to go like kill somebody, but to get into assassinate them or to free prisoners, I had to actually go through a cave in the water behind this castle. So it took me about a half hour to get to the area that I had to do this. And as soon as I stepped in the water, like the game crashed, like froze solid. And I'm like, oh, that's really weird. Like it froze my PS3 to the point where nothing was working. So went up to my system, held down the power button until it shut off.
We had to do the hard reboot.
Yeah, to do a hard reboot. Turn it back on. Of course, it's like, okay, your hard drive needs to be checked for consistency. It's like, okay, so 5 minutes later, it's done doing the check. I go back into Skyrim, and my last save game wasn't 30 minutes ago. It was about 27 minutes ago. So I had to replay through a whole bunch of this quest line to get there. Smart me saved right before where it crashed before, just in case it happened again. I dipped my toe in the water, and sure enough, the system freezes again. And I'm like, what the F? Like, what the hell is happening here? So I'm freaking out. I'm just so angry about this game. So I immediately go into Google, do a search, and it looks like the 1.5 patch on the PS3. If you had been playing for a long time before 1.5 came out, 1.5 added enhanced water visuals. So for some reason, as soon as you step in water, something screws up. So the cure for that was to go into my PlayStation data area where it's like the game data and not the save data, and delete the Skyrim cache files, which is like the 4 gig chunk of data that it drops on your hard drive the first time you run it, and delete the updates. So I was like, fine, I'll go do that. So do that, restart up Skyrim, and it's like, well, you're running 1.0. I detect 1.5. I will download it. It's like, sure, it's only 100 megs. That'll take a couple minutes. 27 minutes later, it's finally downloaded and installed. I hate the PlayStation Network for speeds. It's just, it drives me insane. So
you're probably hooked up to Ethernet, right? You're not wireless.
Yeah, I'm Ethernet. I'm hooked up right into the router. Like I have 100 megabit internet, so it's not my internet. It's their servers are just like goddamn slow. It's just terrible.
Like if it was wireless, then there's kind of an excuse. But Ethernet. Yeah. Sony, come on! I hope they get that right.
Well, if it's wireless, then that would be my own fault.
Yeah,
I would just put it wired, and then it would be great. But I don't know. Anyway, getting back into that, I download the update. It patches. Yay! Start the game up. It's like, oh yeah, I have to install the 4.5 gig file. So, like another 6 minutes or whatever it takes to install it. It's like, okay, finally, I've redone what I had to do. I go and I load up my save game. 5 minutes pass, nothing. 10 minutes pass, nothing. The game is still moving. Like the little icon or the little object, that you can rotate is moving, and the smoke is going up and down, but it's not loading. And I'm like, what the hell is happening now? So I turn off my system, turn it back on, try it again. And sure enough, my save isn't loading. It's like, okay, so did I just like ruin all my save games? I have 110 hours in Skyrim, and I can't play it. So I'm like ready to like punch something right now. I was so angry. It was like an hour and a half of futzing around with this to get it to work. I finally go in and I load up a save game from before the last save that I first went into earlier today. So it was from April or March or whenever the last time I played. It was way before the area that I was in, which was the middle of a quest before I went somewhere else. So anyway, I lost a whole bunch of progress, but I loaded it up in it and it finally worked. So like it took me 2 hours to freaking play a game. Like I'm so beyond pissed off at Skyrim right now. If this wasn't bad enough, now I know that there's no DLC coming in the foreseeable future. So it's like, well, what the hell am I playing this game for? Like,
well, because it's fun.
Well, it's fun, but I spent 120 hours on it or 110 hours on it, and I'm nowhere near complete it. But if I'm going to have all these issues with freezing and crashing and all that other crap, I'm kind of sick and tired of the game right now. So it took me 2 hours to get to this point where I didn't play the game, and I spent 2 hours. Like it's not a PC. I shouldn't have to do this crap to get the game to work. So
absolutely, you are absolutely right on that one. It's not a PC. The fact that, and you can forgive most of the time some bugs, because it does happen. If Bethesda has made it a huge game here, just a ridiculously huge game, so you can forgive every once in a while that, okay, there's going to be a few bugs, but 2 hours, I'm surprised you stuck it out that long. I would have given up a long time before. Probably 20 minutes, I would have given up. Like, I could play something else. This is
Well,
ridiculous.
when I got to the point where my save games were like thought lost, it's like, okay, well, I gotta figure this out, because I'm either gonna sit here and like be like sick to my stomach for losing my save games, even though they're backed up, but if they're not working, they're just as good as deleted. So I had to try to figure out a way to do that. But it's like the installs and the downloads, like Sony has to fix their damn PlayStation Network and make it faster. Like 100 meg patch took 20 minutes to download. That's insane.
Yeah,
And
it would have taken probably 3 minutes on my Xbox.
it would have taken like I can download a 100 meg file on my phone in no time over 3G. Like,
Yeah.
it's inexcusable. Like, I know it's free, and well, I guess if you're paying PlayStation Plus, it's not free. But I could see where they're arguing that our network is free, so things aren't going to be that fast. But come on, like, that is crazy slow. Like I don't know, put a torrent client into it and download all these things via torrent or something. Like, if you're worried about your bandwidth on your network, Sony. Like, anyway, so that was my experience with Skyrim, and I'm to the point now where I don't even know if I want to jump back into it and play. So
That's brutal, man.
yeah.
I you know what? The thing is, like, I love the game, and you've played it for twice as many hours as I have, or around there.
Yep.
I don't even know if I would even tell you to go and play it again, because if you've had that much problems with it, I mean, when you finally get back into it and you'll play for an hour or something and it'll be fine,
Mm-hmm.
you're at this point, you're in a position where you're just waiting for something to screw up, right? That's what you're thinking in your head. You're like, oh, this game is great, I'm having fun, but you're like, okay, if I open this door, am I all of a sudden just going to fall through the floor?
Yeah.
I've had glitches and stuff where I have, there's been no wall and I've fallen through the floor and then come through the ceiling, but I've always been able to go back to a save.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're just going to be waiting for the next thing to screw up, and it's going to kind of sully your game experience.
And the worst part about this is this is the PlayStation 3 version, and we've already had all sorts of issues where like slowness, like there's all these other crap issues that we've had to go through to get to a stable version of the game. And then I guess the 1.5 patch blew up a whole bunch of other stuff, but I hadn't played since that came out. And it's just like, really, you can't get your game working on the PlayStation, which is a faster console than the Xbox, so it's not like it's CPU. I know there's probably less RAM because of all the other stuff that's running in the background. So do you have to optimize for less RAM? Like, what the hell's the problem? Like, sort it out. And especially since Sony has offered a whole bunch of their engineers to help with this game, to make it run and to make the DLC possible. But anyway, that's my Skyrim rant. I'm still going to play it, obviously, because I love the game. I love the universe, but it's just...
Probably take a break.
But yeah, I'm going to definitely take a break. It's like, why should we have to put up with that garbage when we're playing on a console? Like, if I wanted that garbage, I would have played on the PC. And I would have had to deal with viruses and other garbage. So I would be used to stuff happening. But on a console, it's supposed to just work. But obviously that's not the case here. So anyway, I guess that's a bit of an edge case. It's a little bit of a special situation. Maybe I had done something in my game that corrupted something from an earlier patch. Like, who knows what the issue is. But just the fact that I had to do all that garbage was just, I don't know. It's insane.
I guess at the end of the day, the real thing here is that we're willing to forgive Bethesda because the quality of games they put out is so high that it's like, you know what, even though this was 2 hours of extremely frustrating, pull your hair out, want to just kick this console and, like, throw it off a balcony kind of thing, you're still going to go back and play it because the game is so good and the company who made it is top tier.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I guess they kind of won that battle, but yeah, you're right. They do need to maybe do a little bit more due diligence on their part. And I'm not trying to say, like, they're not working hard, because I know they are. They want to sell DLC on the PS3. I mean, that would just be crazy if they didn't. So, yeah, they're working hard on it, but it's just not happening for them.
It's insane and it's aggravating. But I won't talk about Skyrim for a while because I've ranted, and rant is now done. I've also played another game for 30 seconds, and it's this one here. It's Final Fantasy, or sorry, not Final Fantasy. It's Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance for the Nintendo 3DS. Just snagged that one, so I haven't had a chance to really get into it. But I'm eager to get into another Kingdom Hearts game. So I'll have fun in Disneyland instead of craziness in Albion, or trying to get into Albion. That was driving me crazy. Is the thing. All right, well, that's about it for what we've been playing. I guess let's get into new releases, and then you can do your review of Modern Warfare. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Looks like there's a couple great games coming out over the next little while, over the next week, actually, on Tuesday, and also on this Monday. So you'll be able to go and pick up a copy of the Kirby's 20th anniversary collection, the Kirby collection that's coming out this Sunday, I believe. It's going to be $30. It's going to include a whole pile of old Kirby games on your Wii. I want a copy of this because I love Kirby, so I will definitely be picking up a copy. But
really, really quickly before you move off of this, I was at P&P's warehouse doing a video for them, and I because they had a bunch of these for Sunday, and I saw one. The box is nothing special. It's literally a cardboard sleeve. There's a little kind of like collector's book inside, like an art book, and it's really nothing special. It's kind of just this little tiny little book that isn't, it is not to the standard that we've come to expect from Nintendo from their anniversary packs. It is actually quite lame. And the thing is, it's really just like a virtual store kind of pack on one disc. It's just all the Kirby games. It's not anything new.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Nintendo did with Mario as well, unless you got like the deluxe edition that had a book inside of it. And they've really not done another collection really that was any better than that. So I think
that
that's
Mario one was $10 cheaper though, I think.
Was it? I thought it was $30.
$20, and then the Kirby one's $30.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's nothing super special. At least it comes with a book, and the nice thing about it is it's kind of like the old Activision anthologies or whatever, where you look at you look at the games inside the virtual menus, and they give you the original box art, and you can look at all the manuals and all that stuff. Was great as well inside of that. A whole bunch of games. I don't know. It's kind of what I would expect from Nintendo. I mean, they don't really make big. I'm surprised they're even doing collections. To tell you the truth, I'm sure they'd rather sell the games to you $10 a pop on Virtual Console, which they have been doing. So maybe it's just another money grab for them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's coming out, as well as I guess the big game coming out next week is Borderlands 2. So I'm hoping to get it. I was going to get it on launch, but I have a bunch of other stuff to play. I don't know if I'm going to get it on launch, but I'll be getting it. Probably
it might be hard to find if you don't have a pre-order.
You could probably get the original, the regular version. It's the like $200 collector's edition that comes in a little case, which will be almost impossible to find.
Yeah.
So yeah, Borderlands 2, that's coming out as well. So if you're into shooting stuff in post-apocalyptic worlds, Borderlands is definitely the game for you. All right, Jeff, why don't you tell us about the final DLC pack, Modern Warfare 3?
So Modern Warfare 3, as always with these Call of Duty games, the biggest Call of Duty game to come out until whatever the next one is. They did this thing this year, which was called their season of content kind of thing. I mean, they had this massive rollout of content for Modern Warfare 3. They had tons of map packs. They're now on Collection 4. For people who don't have Call of Duty Elite. If you have Call of Duty Elite, you've been getting these map packs every month since the launch of the game. And the last pack came out. It will come out as a collection, I believe, this coming week, unless you already have Elite, and then it's already out. 3 multiplayer maps are coming out. Gulch, which is like this kind of cool mining town, really. It's all these rivers and like a mine shaft. It's really, really cool. The second one is Boardwalk, which is a lot like it plays a lot like Carnival from Modern Warfare 2, if anybody knows that map out there. It looks nice. It's really fun, but the map isn't staggered very well. It's kind of this free-for-all where it's really hard to navigate until you've found a couple of routes that actually work. The last one is Parish, and that's actually my favorite one. It's this place in New Orleans in some sort of war-torn French Quarter. It's so cool. There's like this hovercraft that's up on the street, and there are a couple ways you can run through it. It's really really cool, and all these maps play really well. What I really wanted to talk about though is because like they're just maps they add to the game. They're fun for sure, but it's kind of hard to review a map, right? It's like if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. The maps are really subjective like that. It's if you like if you have a particular play style, some maps just aren't going to work out for you. But what I really wanted to talk was the season of DLC, kind of do a roundup. This marks the biggest amount of DLC ever available for a Call of Duty game. 24 different pieces of content over this last year for Modern Warfare 3. There have been, I believe it's one, two, I think it's like 5 or 6 pieces of DLC for their Spec Ops campaign missions. So they're like little self-contained missions that you can do co-op or by yourself. And they've done new playlists. They put out the face-off maps, which is like 1v1, 2v2, and 3v3 for more competitive play, and made brand new maps to go with them. They've done what are these really really cool new modes, like this one that they just put out, which is for free for everybody, is Chaos Mode, which is kind of like everybody is being thrown at you, and it's insanity. It's pure insanity. There's weapons all over the ground, and you just pick them up and you just rack up point streak. It's a ton of fun. It is absolute insanity if you're looking for just like some really really cool just like bot killing action. I'm really impressed with this DLC because it's not like you really needed much of it. If you were a Call of Duty fan, you needed much of an excuse to play throughout the year anyway. It's just one of those games you can play for an hour, or you can play for like 4 hours. You can play for 4 hours just to see what it looks like. Or sorry, I got off track there because you asked me to tap my mic. But what they've done is they've made this really good draw to keep you coming back. The game always felt fresh. Regardless of what you think about Modern Warfare 3, I don't think it's a great game, but I enjoy it. They have put out a ton of stuff to make this game accessible, and they have put out a ton of new content to keep you playing. And you can see that in the amount of people who are playing. It's like 500,000 people at any given time are playing Modern Warfare 3, which is really impressive. I think if you're a big Call of Duty fan, you owe it to yourself just to buy these maps because there's a ton of new stuff, and it just adds to the Call of Duty experience. It kind of keeps the game fresh until Black Ops 2 comes out in November.
Cool. That's it? That's all you want to say?
That's all I wanted to say.
How many pieces? Like 40 pieces of content? That's
24.
Oh, I thought you said 40. Sorry,
no,
I misunderstood
you. That would
you.
be insane.
Your mic's been breaking up a little bit, or maybe it's my headphones. It's probably my headphones. Wow. I don't play shooters enough, but if I did, that would be like Christmas, like like every couple weeks from when the game comes out. It would be little Christmases that you'd be experiencing all this other stuff.
Yeah, well, it's like, as soon as I kind of get used to the new maps, all of a sudden some new ones come out. It's like, oh, I got to go and download them because I've got Call of Duty Elite because I bought the hardened edition of Modern Warfare 3.
Right.
And it's just a nice little rollout. The Call of Duty Elite service is trash. It's just garbage. The whole stat tracking thing has fallen so hard, it's embarrassing. But the thing is, if you buy Call of Duty Elite, you get all of the maps and you get the last pack for free. So that's, if you're going to buy the maps anyway, that's a pretty good value. Not only that, but you don't have to wait every 3 months like everybody else does. You just get them every month.
Yeah.
So it's actually not a bad value. But, the stat tracking service, which is actually for free, don't bother signing up because it's garbage. Halo with Bungie's stat tracking service is head and shoulders better. And I've talked about this a bunch of times. I would have been really happy if Infinity Ward, or I guess it's Sledgehammer that made Call of Duty Elite, just stole that and ran with it because it works fantastic and they did a really poor job of implementing it. And I follow Call of Duty Elite on Twitter. they have so many problems all the time. Every time they tweet, it's like, oh, we're having an issue with our servers, or an issue. It's always an issue. It's never anything good. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's great news. Don't you love it when there's issues that keep you from having your fun?
Exactly. It's fantastic news, especially when you paid $60 extra for the damn thing.
No kidding. All right, cool. Let's take a small break before we get into the news. We're going to have a music break this week. It's a song called Street Fighter 2 Intro Theme, which is very clever because it's a cover of the Street Fighter 2 intro theme by a local group here in Winnipeg called Super FX. They used to be Mode 7. Now they're called Super FX, and they're a game tribute band that plays out and rocks. So here we go. Street Fighter 2 intro theme by Super FX. Awesome. Really yeah, I love it. They're great. And that's oh, sorry, I gotta mute that. It's gonna start playing Cammy's theme, which is okay. That in the background a little bit. And that's Super FX. They're a video game tribute band. You can find out more from them at facebook.com/superfxmusic, or they're also SuperFX Music on Twitter. So if you want to follow them and check out all the other stuff that they do, do that. They're a great local band.
Yeah, they really are.
Awesome. Cool. So let's get into the news, man. There was
the news, right? I mean, like this is game reporting. Like this is when stuff like this or E3 or PAX happens. This is like a presidential election for gaming news blogs and places like, you know, people like us, where we just go crazy over the smallest minute things. And this is a big thing. Yep. But you know, we tend to just like dive in and pick out every little piece. But this is really huge, really huge.
It is. It's basically Nintendo held. Well, actually, on Tuesday there was some big gaming news as well. Apple had their. Or no, they did that on Wednesday, sorry. On Wednesday, Nintendo, or on Wednesday, Apple, I'm screwing myself up here. Apple had their big event where they announced the iPhone 5 and the new iPod Touches, which are going to be focused on gaming and photo taking, which was really awesome. It's like, okay, that's a boost of gaming awesomeness into the ecosystem. And then Nintendo had one of their Nintendo Directs on Thursday where they basically were letting everything out about the Wii U. So I watched it and loved it. And actually today I pre-ordered a Wii U. So I paid for my Wii U, and it will be coming in November 18th when it ships. So basically we'll kind of give you the breakdown about what they talked about. So I guess the ship date, we've already said that, is November 18th will be coming out. That's a Sunday, of course, because that's what Nintendo does. And the Wii U is going to be available in two separate bundles. The first one is a $299 bundle, which gets you the system and the gamepad and an HDMI cable and power adapter and I think a sensor bar, and that's it.
Yeah. That's also an 8 gigabyte memory console.
Exactly. It's 8 gigs of built-in memory, and it's white. So that's the first bundle. And then for $349, you get a black bundle, which is 32 gigs. It comes with the game control or the gamepad. It comes with an HDMI cable, power adapter, sensor bar. It also comes with the gamepad charging cradle, and it comes with two stands. There's a stand for the Wii U, so you can put it up standing up on its end, and there's also a stand for the controller, which is kind of odd because it comes with a charging thing for it. So I don't know why you would need an extra stand, but stands all around, stands for everybody.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you bought another controller, but it's nice that they give you the little charging cradle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's clearly the superior bundle.
Oh, totally. It's the one that everybody's going to be getting. Actually, the EB where I pre-ordered it at, they were only pre-ordering the $350 one. They weren't doing the $299 because they just assumed that.
I mean, like, why would you even get the $299 system? I mean, unless you're like really cheap and also stupid.
Yeah, because
I don't understand why you wouldn't want the $60 more and I get like everything that you would ever need.
Well, yeah, like we didn't finish saying all the stuff that comes with it. So you get a 32 gig system instead of 8. So that's worth the $50 right there because you can store more stuff. But it also comes with Nintendo Land, which is their new kind of Wii Sports like game. That's going to be awesome. I was so skeptical. What's skeptical? Where would I get that from?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I don't understand it. But anyway, Nintendo.
For those of you at home, Lloyd has been speaking English for like 30 years, so I'm not quite sure what's going on right now.
I have 2 kids, and I chase around after them all day, and then I do a podcast at 10 o'clock at night. It's now 11:11, so that's probably explains a little bit about my speech impediment today. Also, I had a migraine all day, so I'm actually surprised that I'm able to talk at all.
Definitely righted yourself.
Exactly. Okay, so Nintendo Land. I was really skeptical about this game when I first saw it announced. I saw some more stuff about it at this past E3, and then I saw some stuff where basically from E3 till now, and it looks great. There's mini games for Metroid. There's all sorts of awesome mini games. I really am gonna love playing this game, so I'm really glad it comes with it. So the game itself is gonna be $60. So if you're gonna get the game, you might as well get the bundle for $10 less. That makes sense. And you also get enrolled automatically in the Nintendo Network Premium. So Nintendo Network is the online social network / game network / downloadable content network that is going to be free. But there's going to be a premium version. And from what I understand with what they've explained about it, Nintendo Network Premium is going to be kind of like a cross between Nintendo, their Nintendo Online service and Club Nintendo, because every time that you buy a game, you get rewarded, and then you can use those rewards to get you basically get 10% of your purchase in points, and then you can save up those points and trade them in for other games or other DLC. So basically what this is going to be is you get the 32 gig console because Nintendo wants you to buy all your games through their store. They don't want you to buy discs in GameStop anymore because they make more money when you download it digitally. Yeah. So they're going to want you to buy New Super Mario Brothers U off of their system. They're going to want you to buy some of the other great exclusives that are coming out off their system. And if you do that, you get 10% as points, which then you can redeem. So you buy 10 games, you get 1 free, which is pretty cool. If you're the type of person that doesn't trade in your games, that's great because I never get like the trade-in deal when I buy a new game. I always keep all my games. So now this is going to kind of give you sort of like the trade-in used games to GameStop reward. It's only 10%, but it's better than nothing. So
yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is, like, when I first heard about the plan, I was thinking, okay, they obviously do not want us to buy games physically for a few reasons. I mean, it's not like they don't want you to buy the game at all, but they would rather you buy it digitally because then you can't resell it back to GameStop, and then they keep, the used game market. But
exactly,
10% really, they didn't have to offer us anything, really, and they did. So thank you, I guess. 10% is fine. It's it's not a slap in the face. It's
exactly.
Hey, we're thinking of you. We've decided that even though we don't like the used game market, we're still going to allow you to buy games as a disc, but you're going to get a little bit of a benefit if you just download them too.
Exactly. From what I understand, it's going to be you're still going to get Club Nintendo points anyway when you buy these games, so you're going to get like the ability to trade in for products at the same time as getting your 10% discount. Anyway, that's kind of what Nintendo Premium is, or what they explained it to be. They also announced that Wii U games are going to be $60, so they're going to be the same price as normal console games with this generation, not the Wii games, which were $10 cheaper. So Nintendo's popping up the price of these games by $10, which isn't good, but it's expected. So what are you going to do? They announced.
Jesse's saying in the chat room here that they announced 10% in North. Sorry, not he's not sure if they announced it for North America, but they did in Japan.
I was reading a press release from North America.
Oh, okay, cool.
So definitely was announced in North America.
That's awesome.
Not at the event maybe, but it was definitely announced after the fact through media relations and things like that. They also announced the price of some of the accessories. They have the Pro Controller is $49.99. That's the wireless controller that looks like an Xbox 360 controller that you'll be able to play all your games with. Nintendo also said at E3 that for the launch window, any game that you buy will be playable with the gamepad or with the Pro Controller or even with like a Wiimote and nunchuck. So they're trying to make all their games work with everything. So you don't need one, but if you want to play a first-person shooter and you don't want to have the screen staring you in the face, maybe that's kind of what you want to do. So that's going to be available at launch as well. One thing that will not be available at launch is extra Wii U pads. At E3, they said that the Wii U is going to be able to support up to 2 Wii U pads connected to a console at one time, which will then make everything run at 30 frames a second instead of 60 frames a second. Like there's all these technical limitations, but they're not. But they're not going to make these available at launch. They're only going to make them available once the first games come out that support multiple game pads.
I'm a little bit, and while we're talking about the Wii U pads, we might as well go into what they are. They're pretty impressive. I was, cause I'd only ever seen pictures before and video and renders and stuff. So when I actually saw a video of people holding it in their hands, the thing is huge. I mean, it just looks massive. It's like this big. Yeah, it looks like 2 Game Gears.
Well, it's like an iPad. It's like having an iPad in your hand, which I play games on iPad all day, every day. I don't see that as a downfall. The one thing that I do see as a downfall. You were just commenting how crazy.
I was surprised at how big it looks. Like it's got to weigh a friggin' ton as well too. Like it's got to weigh as much as a brick. It's got to have a ton of batteries in it, or maybe lithium ion or something, because it's a charging cradle, right?
Yeah, it's lithium ion.
It just looked so massive. I was just blown away. I was like, that thing is huge. It's crazy.
Well, it's made out of plastic, so it's going to be lighter than an iPad, which is made out of aluminum and glass. Yeah. So that's something there. The one thing that I do hate about it is it's not multi-touch. Like, even $99 Android tablets that you buy that are the same size as the gamepad have multi-touch control, like touchscreens. Mm-hmm. I really hate that, and I think they're really kind of leaving like potentially money on the table, because it's like people are going to not buy it because it's not multi-touch. There's going to be people that are not going to want to play games on this thing. So I think that's potentially a kind of a technical issue that maybe they didn't address properly.
Sure if multi-touch would be inhibiting in any way, and
it just means that if you're trying to use that as a menu and you're trying to like point to someplace on a map and then move your character token around, you can't do that. You can only do one thing at a time. So where a controller is made for multitasking, you're moving in multiple directions, you're hitting buttons at the same time, that touchpad is now not multitasking anymore. So it's taking things away from what you're used to in controlling games.
Yeah, and you're right. And Max just said in the chat room here, he says that Nintendo's always been good with utilizing older technology, which is also very, very right. I mean,
well, I don't know. The DS was kind of ahead of the curve there. It was really one of the first like consumer systems that had a touchpad. You could get Palm Pilots. They weren't widely used at that time. And the DS used a touchscreen, which was awesome. It was like, wow, this is kind of new and fresh and awesome. This system is basically just using tech that they've been using for the last 10 years, and and they're not using anything that the current market has moved to. So that I think that's
true. But I mean, do you think? And I don't really know. I don't want to speculate too much, but I don't know a lot of the costs involved with making a touchscreen.
It would be
is it minute, or is it really expensive?
No, it would be negligible at this point, because there's so many manufacturers. Like you can buy a Amazon Kindle for $100 that has multi-touch. You can buy little Android tablets that are supposed to be like the what are they, the Asus Transformers for next to nothing, that are multi-touch. Like every every touchscreen that's coming out now is multi-touch. They don't make non-multi-touch screens anymore. It probably costs more to manufacture screens that don't have multi-touch because
Nintendo had to go to some like non-multi-touch dealer in, you know, some shady country and like, okay, we need all these screens that you have because no one's making them anymore.
Yeah, and they're saying in the chat room that would make the console cost more. I don't think so. When you're talking about like small little component prices, maybe it's 10 cents more. Like it wouldn't be anything that's more expensive. Like you wouldn't be able to have a multi-touch thing in a phone or an iPod Touch that's $200 if it was super expensive. So I don't see it being a price thing. I think it's more of a comfort thing where Nintendo's used to having single touch on their DS. They don't want to go too fancy with the new system. Is kind of what my thoughts are.
I do believe that, like, and again, I'm really kind of standing as far back as I can from this because at this point, after not have, you know, I've got classic Nintendo games and I have a few DS games, but I do not own a Nintendo anything other than games at this point. I have really no stake in the company anymore, so I think I'm standing a lot farther back than you are. I really don't know if a multi-touch screen is going to hurt them. You know, I don't quite see where you're coming from. I know that it's like it's not as high tech as you'd like it, but Nintendo isn't really a showy company like that.
Sure. Well, how about I put it this way? I could go to Toys R Us and I could buy something called the Leap Pad, which is a tablet for kids. It's ruggedized. It plays learning software.
Yeah.
It has multi-touch.
Oh, wow.
My kids, from when they were 1 year old, were using multi-touch on my iPad. They would see a picture. They know what pinch and zoom is before you could even talk to them in real language what pinch and zoom is. People are going to try that on the pad, and they're going to say, well, why isn't this working? Because they're used to the paradigm right now. They're used to the iPad. They're used to seeing the iPad. They're used to seeing it on television. They're used to using one. They're used to borrowing friends. That's what people are using now. And it's not on this new technology that is new. It's bright, it's shiny, it's awesome, but it doesn't have one of the features that is prevalent in everything. It would be like selling a phone without buttons because you're only voice dialing. Like everything else on the market has this thing. This new product coming out that is new and fancy does not have it. So
that you make a good point there. That's for sure.
I mean, it wouldn't add to games, I don't think, but it could add to games. Like it's not going to detract from anything from what they announced, but it could add so much more. Like you could be on a map screen and you could pinch and zoom the map. You're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they just put like a dial on the map where you just like drag a plus or minus up, and then it just zooms in.
Totally, which they can do, but it's not pinch and zoom and tap to rotate, which is. It's something that everybody is doing nowadays. Even on like your laptops, they have multi-touch trackpads where you're doing pinch and zooming. Like it's a common function. Gestures
they have those on MacBooks though, right?
They have them on a lot of PCs now. You can get trackpads that do the multi-touch stuff as well. So anyway, that's a huge potential miss for Nintendo, and it really kind of concerns me a little bit for the future because there's going to be like from the Wii U comes out to whatever Nintendo comes out with next, there's going to be probably 7 iterations of iPads and iPhones and Android tablets and Android phones. And that would be one thing that Nintendo could have done to at least stay kind of feature complete with what's on the market now.
I guess there's really nothing saying that they can't come out with a new variant of that controller, though.
Totally. But then you're asking people to buy another $100 controller for their system. So anyway,
what do you think the controller is going to cost when they release
$150?
Oh, did they release the price, or that's what you think?
I think it's going to be $149 for the controller.
That sounds about right to me. It's going
to be crazy, but but I think that's what they're going to do. Since we're talking about prices, what do you think of the $350 for the system?
I can't believe they priced it that low. I mean, Nintendo once again goes up there and they just throw in the hard stuff right out of the gate, right? So I watched it today actually, the whole 55-minute press conference, and before we get into what I'm about to say about the price, Nintendo is really good with their presentations at these press conferences lately.
Yeah.
HD, it looks fantastic. There's this nice set behind them. It sounds great.
They've had a lot of practice.
man, they're doing a great job. So I mean, I really love the whole presentation. I thought it was fantastic. I was actually kind of into it. I was like, man, I'm getting excited. And this is like, Reggie, I don't even really like him that much, but he's speaking to me. It's really cool. So,
Yeah.
but the price, I can't believe they priced it that low. I mean, I am shocked. It's insanity to think that their next gen console is going to be just marginally higher than the consoles that we're working with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, the hard drive size is a little strange to me. I don't know how they've got the game files or save files so small, and like if you're downloading a lot of games, is that going to be a problem? I didn't know. I didn't notice if there was room for expandable memory. Do you know that?
You can plug in USB hard drives.
Okay.
I think SD cards as well.
Okay, well,
So yeah, that's not a problem. They're supporting that right out of the gate, which is pretty cool.
that's why the thing is so small. It's only got like a flash hard drive inside of it. But yeah, I mean, I was shocked that it was that. And you know, it really, like when I saw the price, it's like, crap, I probably am gonna buy one because it's so cheap. If it was $400, I would have been like, okay, I'll have to wait and see. But 350, I could buy that. What did you think?
Um, I don't know. 350 is what I expected it to be. When they first announced the system, I said they're going to charge $349 for this. So for 2 years, that was kind of what was in the back of my mind. But over those 2 years, I've realized that the Wii U is essentially the same tech as what the Xbox 360 is using now. It's not much faster than the current generation of systems. Current generation of systems, an Xbox Live arcade system is $150. It doesn't have a tablet, of course, but it's still
also got like 2 GB hard drive, so it's basically a piece of junk.
it's like an 8 gig console, or it's 4 gig or something. So it's
Download one demo and like a piece of DLC.
right, but I mean that stuff isn't expensive. Like RAM and memory is cheap. You can buy a 64 gig USB key now for next to nothing. So storage is cheap. So that's the price is nothing for that. The one thing about the price of the system at $350 is I'm kind of I don't know. I'm kind of concerned about Nintendo's focus, because Nintendo's always been focused on the family with expanded people using it as well. So some hardcore games, but usually it's family games. This is $350 in a recession. That's a lot of money. That's as crazy as Sony asking $600 when the PlayStation 3 first came out. $250 would have been the optimum price point to kind of get mass market appeal, because then you're only $50 away from dropping to $199, which is the real mass market price. So I think they're going to have issues, like not initially, like they're going to sell out for months when this thing hits the streets, and it's going to be a huge seller at Christmas. It's going to be the thing that everybody's going to talk about. But I think 350, I think they're going to be in line for a price drop within the first year. Not what they did with the 3DS, which was like, holy crap, this thing isn't selling. We're going to die if we don't drop the price. But I think it's going to be
like throwing them off of bridges and like, just take them. We got to get them out of here.
Exactly. I think they're setting themselves up for an early price drop just because the mass market isn't going to jump on this as much as they hope. At least that's my thoughts on
when
it.
the Wii came out, it was $299.
It was $279 in Canada and $249 in US, I believe. I'm gonna Wikipedia that for sure, because I could be wrong on that, but I'm thinking that's what it was. It was $250.
You know, and at this point, I'd have to disagree with you. I do kind of understand where you're coming from with the reservations about price, but for me, with the way that I don't know if speed really has much to do about it for this console. Speed in the sense that like there are, they're leapfrogging the current gen big boys right now, but only by a very small margin. I'm not quite sure if that's really where I want my money to go to, is to speed. Functionality. I want a really good network, and I want games. I just want to play games. I almost don't really care how good they look as long as they play really well. Now, I'm saying that now, and I go and I play Call of Duty, and it's broken, and there are a bunch of broken games that I play just because they look good. Mm-hmm. But, it's kind of strange. I would have to disagree, because I think that... You said
disagree.
Did I say?
Yeah, disagree.
I would have to disagree, because the the controller that Wii U pad is really cool. And I think that
Yeah.
the console is like what? It's like as tiny as this hard drive that's sitting right here. It's like this big or something. It's
Hmm.
not very big at all. I don't really care anything about that. I think that for me, I don't even give a damn about. But the interaction that you can have between the pad and the TV, or hopefully the way that game developers are going to think about it, I think that is worth the price of admission. And
Yeah.
like $299 is essential. I don't even know why they even put that console out there.
So they can hit the $300 price point. So they can say
I
it's
guess.
only $299 because they know that the price is high. They launched the N64 and the GameCube at $200, the SNES at $200, the NES at $200, and then they're like, well, we can't launch the Wii at $200, so we launch it at $250, and then like 5 years later or 6 years later, they launched the Wii U at $350 essentially. Well, 300, I guess. So I'm concerned for mass market appeal. You're going to get the real like rich kids, and you're going to get the people that are going to whine and complain to get it. You're going to get people like me that love Nintendo and have since the NES and owned every console since the NES that are going to buy it like without any problem. But I don't know. I mean, it's not a tablet. It's a controller that looks like a tablet. So you're not even going to be able to use it for tablet-y things.
Yeah,
So
that's fine for me. I wouldn't want to anyway, just because I feel like if you're gonna buy a tablet,
yeah,
buy a tablet that's entirely screen and no that controller junk on there. But
totally.
I
But
think it's an interesting controller.
right, and I'm not saying you. I'm saying general public. You're
Oh,
not
I see.
you're not general public. You're an like a tech geek like me. Like you buy new fancy fun. You bought a Vita at launch. Like that's not the general
Don't remind
public.
me of that.
So I don't know. Gamma Sutra put out a really interesting article that compares console launch prices to today's money. So like the Atari 2600 in today's money is $756. So when you look at inflation, the Intellivision was like almost $1,000. But when you look at the NES back when it first launched at $199, that's equivalent to about $400 in our money, $420 in our money. The Wii is only $285 in our money, obviously. The SNES is $330. So maybe it's not as crazy. I'm kind of looking at other products that are on the market, and like people are buying $200 iPods because they're $200. They don't buy $299 iPods. They don't buy the next step up because it's like, oh wow, that's $300. That's expensive.
Yeah, it's insane.
I'm thinking that for the mass market to really jump on this, 250 really was what they had to hit. Obviously they didn't do that. It's still going to sell really well, but
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be in line for a price drop just to kind of get that mass market appeal. So it sells out like when the Wii first came out. Like I'd walk into a store like a Superstore by the one that we do all our grocery shopping at. They would get a shipment of Wiis, and I'd see like 10 Wiis sitting on a pallet, and I'd call friends to say, hey, they have Wiis here, do you want to come pick them up? Like that's how in demand they were. I bought 3 at one time there because I knew there was 3 guys at work that wanted them, and they actually allowed me to buy 3 at a time, which was kind of crazy. And then I sold them to people at work because everybody wanted a Wii. I don't know if this is going to be like that. I don't know, but
You know what? I
I hope
honestly
I'm
don't
wrong.
think it will.
I hope I'm wrong. I'll tell you right now, I really hope I'm wrong. I hope it sells like crazy, and I hope it's as popular as the Wii. But I don't know. I think gaming's kind of changed a little bit in the last 6 years.
Since the original NES, I don't think there's ever been a console other than the Wii that's sold like that. I think the Wii selling
PlayStation
like
2.
that. The PlayStation, oh yeah, that was a big one too.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Those consoles are like this kind of like cultural, just like
Yeah.
insanity that happens, right? Where just somebody flicks a switch and everybody friggin' wants it. It was on the news and it's in old folks' homes and all that kind of stuff that you read about and you're like, oh, this is insane. It's a good video game console.
Yeah.
This I don't feel like it has that appeal, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Not for Nintendo, because obviously they want to replicate that. They're trying to catch lightning in a bottle a second time, and I think that's why they're calling it the Wii U, just because they're trying to hold on to that name as hard as possible. But it's going to be interesting. I don't think that $350 is out of pocket for anybody. I think that if you're good with money, $350 is going to be fine.
Yep.
But I also do think that at this point, standing as far back as I am and knowing the facts that I do, I think 350 is fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, it definitely is fair, but fair has nothing to do with consumer interest.
That's true, especially in the
So
city.
yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I've already pre-ordered mine. I've paid it. I paid all the money, so I've spent all the monies, and I want the system now, but I can't get it till November. So I have absolutely no problem with the price point. I'm just looking at kind of historically, kind of when things drop to a certain point, how the bell curve kind of went up.
Yeah, you're talking about the economics of it.
Yeah, like it's going to get to a point where it has to drop a little bit before it sells exponentially faster than what it currently is selling. So hopefully 350 is going to be good, and hopefully people don't get pissed off when they buy the $299 system and complain about it.
I hope that someone would talk the sense into them before they bought that, because I mean you were just getting ripped off. But we're not ripped off, but you're obviously not as informed as you should be about the purchase you're making. Really quickly before we move on, do you think that the price point is this high because they're trying to maybe make back a little bit of that mistake with the 3DS?
I don't know, maybe. Nintendo's never sold a console at a loss. Other console manufacturers have. Maybe this is like after you factor in R&D of the system, you factor in manufacturing, shipping, packaging, all that stuff. Maybe it really costs them $300. I doubt it, but maybe that's what it is. Like, it's something that's totally new to them. So they've never had to generate like 7-inch touchscreens before. Maybe that's kind of what the issue is. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's part of it as well. Like they took a pretty big boot to the point where they had to apologize to the Japanese public for failing them. So yeah, maybe that has a little bit to do with it as well. All right, enough ranting about the price for a half hour. Let's get into the rest of the stuff that was announced. Some interesting exclusives were announced. The first big one, which I wouldn't in a million years ever have predicted this, Bayonetta 2 is coming exclusively to the Wii U, and Nintendo is publishing it. So Bayonetta is a game that came out about 3 years ago, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, about 2.5, 3 years ago.
It came out on the PS3 and the 360, and it involved a naked woman that had long hair, and her hair would cover her body like clothes, and she would move all sorts of weird ways, and the hair would cover all the naughty bits, and it was like very seductive and sexualized, and she would shoot guns from all 4 of her limbs because she had guns on her feet. And
yeah, they were like heel guns or something. It was actually kind of a cool design.
Like, this game was awesome. It was like Devil May Cry, God of War type thing, but with this like really like over sexualized woman that was fighting. I love the game. I thought it was a terrible game, but it was a fun game to play.
I never played it because I can't deal with the button masher games like that.
But yeah, the sequel that everybody's wanted is coming to the Wii U as an exclusive. It's just like, what world do we live in where Nintendo is using this is paying money to get publishing rights to this game?
Here's the real thing that is kind of sick. The guy who's at the head of this game and the company. Who's the company that actually makes this game?
Oh, I can't remember. It was published by Sega last time. I can't remember the name of the company.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But
brain's
this
not
guy
functioning.
has been taking some like serious flack
on
Twitter
because
these fans are so mad.
Yeah.
And I was reading an article on Kotaku about it earlier this week where they're like death threats. You know, like, I can't believe you effed me over this bad. I'm gonna come and kill you.
Platinum Games.
Kidding me? Like,
it's Platinum Games. That's what it is.
They're like, I'm never gonna support Platinum Games ever again because they're clearly stupid. And it's a freaking game. Like,
the internet go too far, you say? That is
exactly.
so weird. I've never heard of that before.
It was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy, this is insane. This guy's just making a video game. Stop being such an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Max, right. Mass Effect 3 syndrome all over again.
Well, it's entitlement. Everybody has entitlement issues these days where they expect everything given to them. And why are you not giving it to me fast enough? That's kind of what Bayonetta is. But anyway, back to the main point. This is like a crazy, over-sexualized main character jumping around, scantily clad, shooting people in the face, blood flying everywhere. And this is being published by Nintendo, so maybe Nintendo's...
Resident Evil 4?
Was it published by Nintendo? No, it was published by Capcom.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, it was on the console.
Well,
I mean,
on the console is fine. Nintendo will open up their console to anybody that wants to make the game, but it's Nintendo publishing this. So they're putting the Nintendo stamp on this game. It's not the seal of approval, it's the actual Nintendo on the box of this. Like, that's going to be a huge like change to for the market. A mom's going to go to the store and say, "Oh, it's a Nintendo game. I will buy it."
It's got to be a situation where Nintendo's like, listen, we need to make a stand here. We need to let hardcore gamers know that we're in business.
Yeah, and
so
I love it.
This
is like the biggest slap in the face to every other console manufacturer. It's like, hey, look what we got. Yep, suck it. You're not going to get it. The other big exclusive was Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which is crazy in Japan. Like, Monster Hunter is its own thing. Like, it's its own, like, almost separate gaming thing. There's cons that are just about Monster Hunter. There's gatherings of people to trade characters. It is incredibly huge over there. Not so much in North America, but I don't know. It's still pretty popular, I guess, because a lot of people, a lot of gaming nerds that follow the Japanese culture a lot want to play it because it is very popular in Japan. And I get that. I wanted to play Monster Hunter like nothing else to see what it was. And then I found out that I really didn't like the game. But anyway, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is going to be coming to North America as an exclusive as well. So that's pretty awesome cool as well.
There were a couple other exclusives that I was really, really excited about. The first one is that, okay, hold on, let me go back to the list here because I just forgot the name. The Wonderful 101.
Yeah, that's another great game.
Looks so rad. It's like, it's so hard to describe, but the way you could describe it is you get a bunch of civilians together and you make big weapons out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's how you describe it. It just looks so cool. I really want to play it.
Do you know who's publishing that game by any chance?
Oh, you know what I do, but I don't know what
Nintendo is publishing that game.
It's a little bit more cartoony,
it's insane.
Obviously, than Bayonetta, but it's pretty insane.
Oh, do you know what else they're publishing?
Pikmin 3?
No. Well, yes, but Ninja Gaiden 3 is being published by Nintendo, and Lego City Undercover is also being published by Nintendo. So Nintendo is taking a really active publishing role here, bringing some of the big games to their console, and they're putting their money behind it. So that's awesome. Hopefully, a lot of those are launch titles.
Yeah, and as we'll dive into the more games as the show goes on here. It's not just games that they're publishing, but games that they've brokered a deal with and brought big companies in to make games for them. It's pretty impressive. Pikmin 3, by the way, I didn't notice it here on the list, but just really quickly, what I saw of that game, I couldn't believe how friggin' gorgeous it was.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, shit, I want to play this game so bad.
Yeah, the water looked like water, the grass, the mud, everything looked photorealistic. It was pretty insane.
Yeah. It just looks so awesome.
Yeah, very, very cool. Okay, other stuff. The Nintendo Network Premium, we already talked about that. The other big thing that they talked about, which I didn't really kind of get at E3 when they first kind of talked about the Wii U gamepad acting as a universal television remote. I'm like, yeah, okay, I see where that's kind of cool. They announced a service called Nintendo TV, which is TVII. So everything has a double I, which I hate, but whatever.
Yeah. Me too, actually.
And what this is it's an integrated service that's built into the gamepad. Well, I guess it's built in the console, but you access it through your gamepad that looks at all of the services that you have available to you for television content and then displays it in an awesome, totally usable, oh my God, I kind of want to have it right now kind of way. Yeah. So it takes whatever your local cable feed is, whatever your cable box is, it knows how to talk to that through like an IR blaster, I assume. If you have a DVR like a TiVo, it'll talk to that as well. It will talk to Netflix. It'll talk to Hulu. It'll talk to Amazon Video. Hulu and Amazon Video we don't get here in Canada, but that's a big thing for the US. I'm sure they're going to talk to other services as well, like maybe Crackle, which is another service that we have access to here in Canada, which is kind of like Hulu. And basically what will happen is you'll get a grid of all the television shows, and you'll say, I don't know, what's a television show you'd want to watch? Like Weeds, for example. You type in Weeds, and it would say, okay, that's available on Netflix, old episodes. There's a new episode coming out this weekend, and it'll just kind of give you a breakdown of all that stuff. Or if you say Big Bang Theory, it'll say, okay, you have access to the first 2 seasons on Netflix, but then you have all the other seasons are available to purchase off of Amazon if you're in the States. So that's pretty cool. And then it also acts as kind of like a television guide, sort of like your TV guide. So you can see what's coming, what's on, what you would like, because socially, if you opt in, it will look at your friends on Facebook and also on the Nintendo service and look at what they're watching and make recommendations for you, kind of like what Netflix does, where it says, you might also like this. It does that as well. If you're watching an episode of something, say the season premiere of Big Bang Theory is out and you watch it, it activates obviously on your television because you're watching it on your TV. But on the tablet, it shows like this timeline of different things that are happening in the episode. And it has real-time commenting from everybody that's watching it that you are connected to somehow socially. So you could be watching TV with your friends when they're not in the same room with you. And that also, it keeps that rundown of comments. If you watch it, say something that you've PVR'd and you watch it again, you see kind of the rundown of what people are saying. So it kind of like brings social TV watching back, even though we're in the age of like time shifting. Like no one watches every Monday at 7 p.m. and then talks about it the next day. Everybody like time shifts and PVRs or watches it on Netflix or Hulu's it. And it's kind of bringing that all together. And there's other services that do that. Like there's the Google television, which was kind of and never really went anywhere. They're trying to reboot it again for the 3rd time. Maybe it'll be something. There's the Apple TV, which I have an Apple TV connected to every television in my house. I love it because
actually thinking about buying one over the last few days.
You know,
I'm like, I wouldn't mind airplaying some of the stuff to my TV upstairs.
AirPlay makes everything worth it. Like that's how we watch television now, is AirPlay. But I might not use it as often if I was going to then start PVRing more things and watching it on the service. So anyway, this was kind of like a free service that I thought was going to be a throwaway, but it actually turned into be something really kind of interesting.
I'm right there with you. When I first heard about it at E3, I was like, that's stupid. It's probably something I'll never use. Like, if you go to the Wii News or Weather channel, with your old Wii.
Exactly.
Just a stupid kind of throwaway thing. It's like, oh, it's kind of cool that they have it, but I'm never going to use it. And when I saw this video that they put together, I was like, oh my God, this is like an interactive TV guide where I don't ever have to touch my remote control for the cable box anymore. I can record and watch and call up. And like what was really cool too is that you can have different accounts, right? Which show the like your me, right?
Yeah.
And then it'll show on the side panel what that person likes. So like in the video they had a family and it was like the guy was on the dad profile and it was like he was watching a bunch of sports and there was Mad Men on there, and then they switched over to the daughter or whatever and she was watching like little kid shows. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is.
I would actually use that. Okay, you know what? I'm talking myself into pre-ordering it tomorrow.
Go do it. Do it.
Stop this right now.
Do it. Jeff, do it. Do it. Do it now. Go do it now. Do it now. But anyway, the other thing that it does is if you're big into sports, like I love watching sports. I don't really watch sports just randomly. Like I'll follow a team and watch all their games. What it does is it has kind of like box scores where you'll look at the like MLB stuff and it shows you like kind of everything that's happening right now around the league. Or it didn't show hockey, which really kind of pissed me off. Like, does Nintendo hate hockey for some reason? Like,
I saw football and baseball on there.
Football, baseball, and there was one other sport. I can't remember what it was. Basketball, NBA. The 3 of the big 4. Hopefully they'll add hockey as well, because that would be really cool. But there's a lockout, so I guess they wouldn't add something that probably won't have any games this year. I
doubt that they made that decision in the last 2 minutes of the video. That,
you never know.
Lockout in the NHL, let's take that part out of the video.
Nintendo's smart. You never know. But anyway, just even that, like you're looking at scores. Like you could do it on your iPad. You could do it on your television. Like if you have a connected television, there's a lot of plugins for that type of stuff. But just the fact that they've thought enough to put all that stuff in there is really kind of cool. So I don't know. It might be useless. It might be terrible. But from what they've shown in that Nintendo Direct, it looked really damn cool. I'm really excited for that, which is just kind of like a throwaway bonus on top of your $350 console that you're buying anyway to play games. All right. The last thing is kind of the launch window games. So Nintendo said the launch window is from November 18th till the end of March. So these are, I'm just going to run quickly. 505 Games is bringing out Funky Barn. You know, that's going to be awesome.
Can we actually just really talk really quickly about that launch window?
Yeah.
I think that is way too big of a window. That's like a friggin' hole in the side of your house.
It's 4 months. That's a long time. I mean, that's a third
that
of the
is,
year.
what is that? 4, 8, 12. That's 16 weeks of games to come out.
Exactly. And you never know what game is going to come out. Like, they haven't said what the launch titles are, obviously, but hopefully
no actual dates either for the other games too, right? So I mean, just like, what if
the only other date I saw was new Super Mario Brothers Wii U, which is coming out on the 18th as well.
I mean, we know when Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is going to come out because it's going to come out with the rest of them. So that one's guaranteed. That'll be literally a week after launch.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Wait a minute. No, it'll actually be before launch. That's strange because Call of Duty Black Ops 2 comes out
on the 11th, right? Yeah, so it'll be the week before.
Interesting.
So, yeah, interesting. 2K Sports is bringing out NBA 2K13. Activision is bringing out a bunch of games. 007 Legends, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, of course, Transformers Prime, Wipeout 3, which is not the racing game Wipeout from Sony. It's the game show Wipeout, which, I don't know.
Yeah, too bad. Like, when I saw Wipeout, I was like, "Oh no, that's awesome!" And I'm like, "Wait a minute."
Since Sony closed down the studio, this is great. And nope, different Wipeout. They're also bringing out Skylanders Giants, and they made a big deal about it, although they had already announced that it was coming to the Wii U. So I don't know why it was such like, "Oh my God, look what's coming out." It's like, well, yeah, you said it was already coming out, so yeah, big deal. They're also bringing out Cabela's Dangerous Hunts and Rapala Pro Bass Fishing. So if you're a sports freak, a sports hunting kind of person, you'll be able to play those games. Capcom.
The only thing that kind of sucks about those is that those are old games. I mean,
yeah,
they're one trick pony. Is that
they're kind of shovelware kind of games.
Oh, they're big time shovelware games.
Yep. Capcom's bringing out Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. We already said that. D3 Publishing is bringing out Rise of the Guardians, the video game. I'm glad they put the video game in the title because I was buying a game. It's glad to know that it's actually the game.
Yeah, like it's if by accident you walked home with the DVD.
It's like going to go to the movie and seeing Batman Returns, the movie. It's like, well, I'm going to a movie theater to see it. You don't have to tell me what it is. Anyway, they're also bringing out Ben 10 Omniverse Family Party, which is 30 Great Obstacle Arcade. So it's going to be a mini game collection. Disney's bringing out Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, which I really want to get. EA is bringing out Mass Effect 3, which will be kind of cool to see what they do with that. Madden 13 and FIFA 13. Frozen Bytes bringing out Trine 2, the Director's Cut. Gaijin Games is bringing out Bit Trip Presents Runner 2, Future Legend of Rhythm Alien, which is a really long title. Majesco is bringing out Zumba Fitness Core. Maxim Games is bringing out Jet Tailfin. Namco Bandai is bringing out Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and Tank, which is the best name for a game, which is probably going to be really horrible. Nintendo's publishing Nintendo Land, New Super Mario Bros. U, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, Sing Party, Lego City Undercover, Wii Fit U, Game & Wario, Pikmin 3, The Wonderful 101. Sega is bringing out Aliens Colonial Marines and Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, which actually kind of looks pretty interesting. It's Mario Kart ripoff, but you're boating, flying, and racing, which looks kind of interesting. Shinen is bringing out Nano Assault Neo. Tecmo Koei is bringing out Warriors Orochi 3. So you know there's going to be a Dynasty Warriors game coming to a Nintendo console at launch. It always happens.
if you out there are somebody who plays Dynasty Warriors, email us vgpodcast@gmail.com and let us know what's wrong with your head, because I have no idea how the hell this company keeps putting out Dynasty Warrior games. They are trash. They're utter trash.
Well, there's probably 3,000 people that buy them each time at full price, and that pays for the development of each game.
It's a company that just breaks even all the time. They're like, maybe this time we'll make a buck.
Exactly. THQ's bringing out Darksiders 2, Wheel of Fortune, and Jeopardy. So if you like game shows, there you go. Uh,
What a great lineup, right? Let's do probably one of our biggest hardcore titles of the year, and then Wheel of
a
Fortune
couple
and Jeopardy.
throwaway game show
It's
games.
so strange.
Two Tribes is bringing out Toki Tori 2. Ubi is bringing out Assassin's Creed 3, Just Dance 4, and Marvel The Avengers Battle for Earth. Rabbids Land, Sports Connection, Your Shape Fitness Evolved 2013, Zombie U, which is that zombie game they've been talking about, and Rayman Legends. Warner Brothers Interactive is bringing out Scribblenauts Unlimited, Game Party Champions, and Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. So there's some other games that will probably come out, but that is what's been announced so far.
I wish that they had the stones to tell us when, but you know what? I think that they'd probably get themselves into quite a bit of trouble if they did that.
And that'll be coming over the next couple weeks. You'll get some
Yeah.
solidified launch dates coming out over the next little while. So check your local game seller of choice, and you'll be able to see when those games are coming out.
And by the way, if people out there are listening and they're part of the team at Zombie U, we've heard enough already. Okay, you can stop getting people to write articles about the game because you are just burning me out on it already, and I can't stand to listen about it. I really want to play the game, but I don't want to hear anything about it until it's come out now because it's just ridiculous the amount of press this game got.
I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I don't mind hearing more, and please send free copies so that we can play it and launch and review it for
free
you.
copy, be fine. I'll talk about it the day I die.
All right, moving on. We got a couple other quick news stories that we wanted to talk about. The first is a great sequel to a great game is coming out on the Vita, which is kind of interesting. On October 2nd, you're going to be able to... Yeah, have you heard about that little thing? It's a screen.
I honestly sometimes forget that the Vita plays games.
It's kind of odd.
That's how bad it's gotten.
There was a really great game that came out for the Wii called Little King Story, which was the most adorable little management kind of game. You were the king, and you would manage a city, and you'd send people out to go do stuff for you. I loved it, and I played it like crazy on my Wii. But I was kind of sad that they never came out with a sequel. So the sequel's been announced. It's coming out October 2nd, and it is coming out only on the PlayStation Vita. So there you go. And it will only be a downloadable title as well. So I may have to think more about possibly getting a Vita without Jeff coming and ripping it out of my hand and spiking and running away.
We were talking before the show. If you can find one that is $170, like you were saying, comes with a memory card, and it's actually in very decent condition, I think that's a pretty good price. But be prepared to be bored with it quite often. It will sit around and just collect dust.
Yep. Exactly. So anyway, if you have a Vita and you want to play a really awesome game, 2nd of October, you'll be able to pick up a Little King Story. And if it's as good as the first one, it's going to be worth the download at whatever the price. Hopefully they've made some changes and made it a little bit more interesting, so people that have played the original will play the sequel. All right, next up, this one was kind of interesting. I read a whole bunch of articles about it and some forum threads, excuse me, and a bunch of other things. And that was someone found out by cheating and flying up to like the top of the world in World of Warcraft and taking a screenshot and then saying, wow, what are these weird things that are in my screenshot? Let's investigate. They basically found out that Blizzard, since the Wrath of the Lich King, has been putting tracking codes in every single screenshot that you make with the game client. So they put it really easy. There's like a hotkey you can press to record a screenshot. And what it does is it puts this random pattern of dots, and it acts kind of like just like a QR code. So if you have the software to decode it, you can find out the IP address of the server that the person's playing on, the account of that person, and the date and time that the shot was taken. So it's just the account. So it's not such a big deal. It's not like your name and your phone number and your address and what you're wearing, but it's enough where if you're playing on a server that isn't a Blizzard server, so people have emulated the servers and there's free servers out there, and you've taken a screenshot and posted it, that would explain why a lot of those big servers have been taken down, because all that information was embedded in these screenshots. If you had ever cheated, found a way to dupe items and posted screenshots but blocked out your name and stuff, it doesn't matter. Blizzard could actually look at that and figure out the account, look at the characters on the account and figure out if it was actually you that was cheating and doing that stuff. So people are saying that this is the explanation for a lot of bannings that would happen just randomly, where someone would find something, post a screenshot in a forum, and then 2 days later they'd be banned and there'd be no explanation as to what was happening. So
For those also keeping track at home, Wrath of the Lich King came out in 2008.
yeah,
That's 4 years of
and
them
someone
being
just
able to
randomly found it.
Skyrim.
And even more so than randomly found it, recently they've written software to decode any screenshot that you've taken. It'll tell you your account name just by running this piece of software on these screenshots. So
I wouldn't say that they don't have the right to do it though, just to keep the game fair and to keep the game balanced and to keep people from screwing it up and breaking it.
they
But
didn't tell
it
anybody
seems
they
to
were
go a
doing
little
it.
far.
They didn't tell anybody they were doing it, which is where they've kind of crossed the line. It's not your name, but it's your account name. So a lot of people, like, say if you're an internet star, say if you're like a Felicia Day, and you post a screenshot up, now someone knows what your account name is, so they could possibly try to hack your password. If you don't have an authenticator tied to your account, you could be, I don't know, faced with all your items disappearing if someone is able to hack in. People are now able to find out alts of people. So if you're posting a screenshot because you're in their guild, they could then take that account name and somehow figure out through looking at other screenshots of other things that these two people are the same person. Like you may be playing both sides of the pawn. You may be playing like an alliance and a horde character in two different guilds and doing sabotage. They could find that out now because that information isn't there. I don't have a huge problem with it, but I think it's pretty, I don't know, it's kind of dastardly that Blizzard would put that in there without telling anybody. It's not in their terms of service.
Yeah, you're right. They should have told somebody just so that people knew that, hey, listen, it's within our rights to watch you.
Yeah.
Because we have terms of service, and if you break them, we will find a way. But listen, we're going to be watching you. I think you got to tell them, right? You got to tell them that we're watching you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when people get screeners of movies and they post them online and they're like, oh, I didn't know that I'd get in trouble for this. Well, obviously, they're digitally watermarked. Any video that is sent out to you as a screener has watermarks that aren't easy to find. But this is a game. You're just posting screenshots, and it contains all that information, like the date and time. So if you post a screenshot and your boss decodes it and finds out, hey, you're playing at work because you're playing it at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, and I walked by your desk and you were sitting at your desk, like little things like that. Obviously, if you're playing games at work, you deserve to get in trouble, but it's just, with Blizzard putting this stuff in there, like who knows if this hasn't been found already and people have been abusing it, and maybe that's how accounts have been hacked in the past. Like maybe someone had found this a while ago and only kind of like the kind of dark recesses of the internet know about it. But anyway, who cares? It happened.
We should do this huge thing, but this is something you should know. We go through this huge and then at the end, who cares?
Yeah, no, like we wanted to talk about it because it's cool. It's interesting that it's happening, but it's like, who cares really? It's your account name and your IP of the server you're playing on and the date and time. It's not crazy. It's not your phone number. It's not a Google Map location geocoded to where you're playing it. But it's still kind of bad that Blizzard didn't tell you about it. I think they're going to eat a lot of egg on their face for this. Get a lot of egg on their face. I was going to say eat a lot of crow or get egg on their face, and it kind of just blended to eat a lot of egg that is on your face.
It's like the really terrible hybrid version of both of those awful scenarios.
Along with the crow on their head is what's going to happen. Eating the egg off their face.
It's a good thing we're almost done because I think we're about to get burnt out here.
All right, last but not least, guys, I love my PlayStation 3, even though I just ranted for 20 minutes about how crappy an experience Skyrim was. And I told you about Borderlands that was released free, and you could get the DLC for $10. And I actually received a couple emails from people who had picked up Plus just to get Borderlands to play through it again, which is really kind of cool. They used the free, I guess the 1 month cards that they had in some of their games, and they got Borderlands for free, which is really awesome. PlayStation 3 just had a system patch, which increases the cloud save from 128 megs to 1 gig, like what was promised at E3. It finally just happened right now, so I think it happened on Tuesday, or Wednesday. So if you want to I don't know, upload a lot of game saves, you can do that now. You have up to 1 gig. and
It'll
added.
probably take you 9 days though to use that entire gig.
Actually, the uploads are pretty quick. And if
That's
you have
true.
and if you have
But then to download them back down.
if you have PlayStation Plus, it actually uploads in the middle of the night, so you don't even see the uploads happening,
Oh, cool,
which is pretty
nice.
cool. And last but not least, if you are a PlayStation Plus member, you can download free copies of Double Dragon Neon and Scott Pilgrim. They've been added to the instant game library, so check those out. Double Dragon Neon is the redone version of Double Dragon with like super retro 80s kind of look and feel with a really awesome soundtrack. Like it's like 80s hairband metal cheese music. It's really, really awesome. So definitely go download those two if you're a PlayStation Plus member.
Yeah, you know what? I recently renewed my Xbox Live Gold subscription, and I almost kind of feel bad about it because I only play a few games online. But man, does PS Plus look really, really attractive right now?
Yeah,
I mean,
you get a whole
I
bunch
almost
of
want to just put down the money and for 3 months, I would actually rather just buy the year and save the money because I think that I'm going to download a bunch of these games, and it's just such a good service at this point.
yeah. I mean, the free games are awesome. The fact that you have cloud saves when you pay for it is really awesome. The thing that I like the most is your system will turn itself on at like 3 a.m. and it'll look for patches for all the games that you've played recently and download any system updates automatically. And then when you come to your console after, it just basically all the patches have been installed and you just have to apply the system updates. Like that alone
awesome.
is super awesome. Like it's great that happens. So
Yeah.
anyway, just wanted to let you guys know. I'll keep letting you know about the free games. Just if you don't want me to talk about PlayStation anymore, send us an email. I'll probably still do it anyway, but at least I want to kind of gauge the audience to see if you guys hate PlayStation. Maybe we won't talk about stuff too much anymore. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for this episode of the bonus stage. Thank you for checking us out.
Really quickly before we go, just to kind of for people who are listening to this right now, and we'll see it over the week.
In Winnipeg,
Campy Games is having their 5th anniversary. I'm doing a video for them, and not this weekend, but next weekend, which will be the weekend of the 22nd. They are having a huge 5th anniversary sale, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. They've always been a big help to the show, and it's going to be a massive sale store wide. I think you guys should really go down and buy some games. They got this new rewards system that they've just put together, and Jade, I was talking to him because I was doing the video interview. He says this thing's going to be bigger than their Boxing Day sale. Like some of their stuff is going to be marked down more than half off. It's going to be insanity. So I'm going to be down there just to buy some games.
Can he let us in early?
He might be able to. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him.
Make that happen, and I'll be there for sure. But cool, yeah, check it out. If you're in Winnipeg and you're listening to this before next weekend, check out the huge sale at P&P Games. They are a great game seller here in Winnipeg, so do check them out. And they have an online website where they sell old retro games as well, which is really awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks everybody that showed up in the chat room while we were doing it. We have the people that stuck around to the bitter end. Max and Jesse from VG Tribune are listening in and typing with us, which is awesome. We want to hear from you guys, though. Head on over to vgpodcast.com, click contact us at the top of the page, and send us an email. Email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG-Podcast. So
definitely want to hear from you if you're a Dynasty Warriors fan.
Yes, if you play those games. I have once, and I will never again. I played it on the PSP because I wanted to see what it was all about, and I felt cheated.
Did you also feel cheap?
No, I felt cheated. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Later.
Peace.
Let's get started.